Let's talk travel hacks or tips or just general good practices. So there's some things over the years that I've either picked up or I've just always done, never realized it wasn't common knowledge. So one of those not realizing it was common knowledge things is using contact lens cases for various purposes. I use contact lens cases, the ones that you can just buy like super cheap or in bulk at Walmart, the little side by side screw on caps. I've used them for years to put small amounts of liquids in. So, if, for example, maybe I don't need my huge bottle of like face moisturizer. I need like a pea size amount per application. And I just fill one side of the contact lens case with liquid. I also used it for powders. I usually have one that's full of activated charcoal face wash powder. I've used them for other small things like fake eyelashes when I need to take extra sets. Put them in there. I've put other small items in there, valuables in there. I've put my concealer, my foundation in there before, and it didn't spill. I was super excited about that. Um, Lots of different purposes. They're just great, and didn't know that wasn't common knowledge. I think I've seen some articles, probably I would say recently, but what is time? I've seen a lot of articles that people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do this." I'm like, "Oh, I've always done that." So, contact lens cases, they're awesome. Same train of thought. I didn't realize until probably like 3, maybe 4 years ago that you can buy the little squeezy bottles that, I don't know, they're like yay big and you just like, they're got like the little eyedropper kind of thing on the end of them. So you can put, liquids in them when you don't need your full size liquid. So I do that a lot with, different like face serums and things I have, or contact lens cleaner in solution when I'm traveling. What else have I put in them? Just, I mean, liquids really is the thing. And so they're super great. They're helpful. You can buy a pack of them on Amazon for, I don't even know, super cheap. But they're so useful, and they've been a really big help for me for trying to like make sure that things I'm only bringing what I need and in a container that's not gonna leak everywhere. I will say, just like small caveat, I have had a couple times where I've screwed the cap on, and I must have screwed it on a little bit too tight, or maybe like air pressure in the cabin and in flight they have cracked and popped. Like the old top kind of pops off. Hasn't been too big of an issue because what I had in there wasn't super liquidy, so they still didn't spill. But I just like take that with a grain of salt. It might just have been the specific product that I bought, but otherwise, highly recommend them. They're awesome. By now, you're probably sensing a theme here. Small containers that allow you to bring only the amount of an item you need versus bringing your entire bottle. It just makes life easier. In so many ways. Like, one, you don't necessarily have to check a bag. You're not forced to check a bag. Let's put it that way. And then yeah, liquids. They all fit in your liquids bag, which I know that could be a whole other video about liquids and full size versus the TSA approved size, because that's all kind of changing. But I'm digressing. Anyway, back on topic. Another thing I have done for years, and I feel like they kind of go in cycles. Right now, I think people are a little bit more still on like the packing cube train, but something that I have done for years and years are the rollable compression bags. So you don't have to take a small pump or have access to a vacuum to squish your clothes in these plastic bags. It's maybe not as big of like a hack as it used to be for saving space in a bag, but I still think they are the number one way to save space in your suitcase when you're traveling. If you love compression cubes, I use them. I don't have much against them, so come at me. So like, by all means, come at me in the comments, whatever. I I I can advocate for both either way, but I will say the compression bags I still think have the edge. One, because I have tried it. I packed the same amount of clothes in a rollable compression bag as I did in a compression packing cube and save space by putting them in the plastic bag. I also recommend the plastic compression bag because it makes everything in your suitcase waterproof. I have had instances where I've shown up somewhere and it was pouring down rain and you're wheeling your suitcase through the puddles and the rain, and guess what? Things get wet. Your suitcase gets wet, the interior suitcase gets wet. Trust me, it happens, and I've been there, done that, and fortunately all my stuff was dry because of the plastic compression bags. And I also always recommend them because of bed bugs. I had one instance where I was in an Airbnb and found bed bugs. Fortunately, did not bring any of them home because I hadn't unpacked yet, and all of my stuff was still in these plastic compression bags, so there were no bed bugs. They couldn't get to them. Yes, I understand they could have gotten on my suitcase or in my suitcase, and I was very, very lucky. But all that to be said, it just helps mitigate that potential of picking up a bed bug if you do unfortunately find yourself in that circumstance. So, yes, the rollable compression bags, they still have the edge for me over compression cubes. But I guess I can plug the compression packing cubes. Number one, if you're gonna buy packing cubes, make sure they are compression. Otherwise, there's no reason to buy them. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Hard stop. I have used them, the compression packing cubes. I do like them. I think there's a lot of drawbacks to them. If Partly because if they don't fit in your suitcase perfectly, then you have all those awkward space that's not getting used, and that doesn't help with the efficiency of packing. I Again, the waterproofness, the potential for bugs. I just They're just not my go-to. I don't think they compress or organize as well as people say they do. And I know there's a bunch of different ways on how to pack them. They say roll your stuff and then put it in the cube. And I had never done that. I've never even I could do a whole video on packing. But for some people, they are super helpful. So if that's what you would like to do, if that's what you prefer to do, by all means. This is not a sponsor by any means. I'll just tell you right off the bat, I love my Thule compression cubes. I think they were very much worth the investment. They're sturdy, they compress, and they've held up. I really like them. There you go. There you have it. There's my a little bit of compression cube. Um, yeah. Anyway, I will move on. Something else I've seen recently that seems to finally have come back into the general consciousness of something to use that's actually really, really helpful is I guess you call them like a trifold toiletry kit. They're the ones that you got like clamshell this way, but they also have the flap that folds in. So then when you unfold it, you can like hang it in the bathroom. That's funny enough. That is the only type of toiletry kit I have ever used. Because it just makes sense. It's so convenient. It's easy to organize. Everything folds up. It slips either into my my carry-on backpack or my carry-on, whatever I'm traveling with. And I think it's funny that they've come back around as being like this big thing. And so if you don't have one, go pick one up. I love mine. Mine has been with me for at least 20 years, probably. It's like anything. I tell people you're gonna go invest in something, actually invest in something that's nice. It will last you forever as long as you treat it well. It's better than buying something cheap. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. And maybe that's like an intangible, my last like hack or something that I think is just a good general tip. Whenever you're buying anything, large or small, within reason. I'm not going to tell you to go buy the fanciest contact lens case ever, but when it comes to other things you're going to use for a long time, if that's your packing cubes or your toiletry kit or even like small little bottles, do not be afraid to spend some money and invest in them. You will thank yourself in the long run because that initial cost for something that's going to last you 20 years is a whole lot less than buying something cheap and having to replace it every couple years. Promise you the math works out. Someone else has done that. I made an example of it, so I'm not going to bore you. Go Google it. But I really do think it's important to invest in the things that you travel with and just things in general, but especially things you travel with. You want something that's going to hold up And it really, really sucks when you're overseas and out of your element and you may not have access to something to replace it or to repair it. So invest. And that tip comes from my toiletry bag that I'm fairly certain I've used for 20 years, and it is still in great condition, still works great, and absolutely love it to death. So yeah, I'll stop tapping there. And our little kitty friend has come out and told me once again that it is time to stop jabbering. So hopefully I'll turn this one into a blog post. I should turn it into a blog post. I think it would be a good one to read, and I can elaborate some more on stuff. And as always, excited to have you here, and I'll catch you on the next one.